na 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 na
Square
na
round
na.
You know, you need to tune in if you want to hear So we Chad, Josh, Dmitri, and Marcus every Friday.
It's the Square Round Table.
Tune in.
It's the Square Round Table podcast. Tune in every Friday. Let's have a blast. I know at work you had a long day. Just relax and tune in.
Make sure you tune in weekly, every Friday. MajorsOnMusic.com. We also tune on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. So yeah.
Hey, what's going on, my freaks and geeks? This is the Square Round Table podcast. I really want to thank you all for being with us today. Guys, look, today we have a very, very special guest. This will be our 8th podcast of 2021. And man, this guy's name has been in circulation with me and my guys for the longest. So just to have a chance to speak with this legend that we have with us today is like, I can't even believe it. It's the greatest experience ever. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. So without further ado, please welcome the legendary comic book artist himself, Mr. Mike Deodato.
Hey, everybody.
What's going on, Mr. Deodato? How are you doing
Good.
today?
Getting old.
Well, yeah, because like I feel like it sounds so bad. Like my parents always talk about me every time I complain about getting old because I'm 27 and like that's the oldest I've ever been, and I feel like my back hurts already getting up out of bed.
Yeah, I'm
every day.
57, so I could be your parent, your father.
No, seriously, pretty close. My dad, was Josh 61. Dad just turned 61.
Yeah, he's 61. Yeah.
But I feel like I'm 20 now. So
Hey, that's what's up.
yeah, if I take off all the pain in the joints and everything, I feel like I'm 20.
That's good stuff. We definitely always like to hear it, but yes, once again, it's such a pleasure to have you on today. So how have you been doing lately? Like how's this the year we're in right now? How's everything been going with you and your family?
Yeah, doing all right. My wife was just saying goodbye. She's taking my 6-year-old daughter to take a walk so we don't get interrupted.
Yeah.
I have another 30-year-old daughter that lives far away from me, and but everything is fine. We are safe from COVID.
That's good.
So far. Didn't get the shot yet. In Brazil is a mess. We have a terrible president, so it's a mess. But we are all right. So
that's good. No, it's definitely crazy for a lot of people out here. I've had members of my family catch it, and it's really unfortunate, but we're okay. I know Demetrius, everybody over there is okay, and yeah, we're really happy that you and your family are safe. So that's good stuff. Like that's definitely great. But
yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
No, everything is fine here, and right now I'm working just on my creator-owned stuff. So I'm new phase in my career, so I'm enjoying it very much.
That's great. That's great. And then hopefully, you get to where you could just kind of rest a little bit. You don't have to be stressed and drawing like crazy all the time.
The thing is, at this point, I should be with working less, but because I have a big family, so I help everybody. So I never saved any money, so I cannot stop. But I'm not complaining because I love to draw.
That's good.
The only time I'm really happy is when I'm drawing. It's when I feel complete. If the script is late, or I just don't know what to do. What I do. I've learned how to balance things with time. Back in the 90s, I used to sleep only 4 hours a day and work on 4 titles. It was crazy. But nowadays, I do only 1 title a month, and I use my spare time to do sports and interact with my family. So I learned the importance of this balance, to relax, do other things, because the way I feel, if I'm happy, if I absorb other things, I can use it on my art. So I understand now this balance is important. You have to work all the time. You have
Right.
to be good in all parts of your life, so your art will be better. So it will reflect on your art. So. And sorry for my English, but you
Oh no,
my
it's
No, it's all
perfect.
good.
No, it's perfectly. We can understand you perfectly fine. It's no
Yeah.
problem at all. But no, that's a lot of good stuff. Definitely, and that's a big thing. I guess for me and my brother, and even like Demetrius right now, I know we didn't even go to sleep. Like we just been doing so many different things. Just trying to go and get this out here, balance schoolwork, all that kind of stuff. And but no, it's definitely important. Like my mom is really big on that, and my dad, he's trying to take a lot off of his workload right now. Like I said, he just turned 61. So he's doing the same things, trying to relax a little bit, take in other things, and not try to just focus so much on one thing. Just kind of get a chance to breathe a little bit. That's what we were talking about earlier. I just want you to get a chance to breathe and relax, all that good stuff.
Yeah, in the end, it all reflects on your art.
Hmm.
Uh, for example, I barely read comics nowadays.
Oh wow.
I read the ones that I'm connected to, like the ones that are published by AWA, but it's a choice I had to make because I have I don't have much time. I work all the time, and if I were to consume comics like superhero comics, or I prefer to absorb other things like books or movies or TV series, and then I can bring that stuff to my work. If I absorbing the same thing I'm working on, I wouldn't evolve. In a perfect world, I would have time to do all of it. I read comics,
Right.
but I had to make a choice, and it's just because I want the things I put on my art to grow. So I don't want to be stale. So if I absorb the same thing, I'll be just in a circle. I don't know if I express myself well, but
Oh
that's it.
no, I got it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like you don't want to ever get to the point to where what you're doing feels like a job, and then you can see it in your artwork. It doesn't seem like you're excited about it anymore.
Or like from repetitiveness of it, like being repetitive, doing the same thing over and over again. It's kind of like you want to just kind of be everywhere, so you don't really feel like you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
one of the things that made me leave Marvel after 24 years.
Hmm.
Uh, I still love all people there. I still love superheroes that I grew up reading them, but I'm 57 and I had to do something else, and I wanted to try something else. Also think about my legacy, because I don't own any character at Marvel. I don't own, even though I created several of them, but I don't own them. It's theirs. So doing my own stuff, they are mine, and from my co-creator too, and we have a chance to make it grow, or I don't know. And I wanted to do something different. So, for instance, my first creator owned at AWA, the new company I'm working on. It was about a, soccer mom. Uh, she's a bit fat. She's in her 50s. Two
Hmm.
kids, no police training, no karate training no superpower, nothing. And she has, her daughter is kidnapped. She cannot count on police or her husband, and she has to go after the kidnappers by her own. So it's completely different from the super beautiful people, the superheroes, all, and completely the opposite. That's what attracted more. And now my new book is about a 60-year-old lady who is also the words in English. One girls like girls. It's what's her name? Well, she is LBGT. I don't know, a lesbian.
Yeah, yeah, right. The
She's a
LGBTQ, right?
60 years
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
and she's a gunslinger. She's the protagonist of the story. It's a mix of Mad Max with Unforgivable.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So it's completely different. Three strong women are the center of the book. They beat the hell of the guys there. So it's completely different. Who would do a old lady being the hero of the book? And it's
Right.
fantastic. It's so well written, and I love this change to not draw only perfect gods of Olympian gods like heroes,
Yeah.
and do normal people, old and beaten, and it's great. So I'm very happy with this change of pace. Of course, at some point I'm gonna miss Marvel and hey, I want to draw again. But for
Right.
now, I'm having a lot of fun. So
That's really cool. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you, and I definitely want like urge all of our viewers and listeners definitely to check out some of your new comics, and later on I want to get the names so we can put them in the description.
sure.
So yeah, but so was it a thing also to where you just kind of got tired of that recipe, like drawing the same type body type over and over again?
Yeah, I miss drawing normal people, not perfect people, because it's superheroes. Besides Wolverine, that is short and
Yeah.
not pretty, but all of them are pretty and beautiful bodies, and I like that. I love the drawing. Perfection is fantastic, but I really missed drawing normal people with normal stories. My first book for AWA was in the middle of a pandemic, and it was The Resistance with Stravinsky writing, and we created the whole universe of heroes for our AWA. But different from the other companies, they are normal people, because it's a story about a meteor that lands on Earth, and there is a virus, kills a lot of millions of people, but after it stops killing people, a lot of people emerge with superpowers, and can be anyone from bad guys to good guys, any race and any, and so a lot of people that don't know what to do with their powers, and they are figuring out what to do with them.
Wow,
And
I
it's
like
written
that.
by Stravinsky, so it's fantastic, fantastic. A lot of critic from fascist in the world right now, and so a lot of reference to the orange guy that you guys put in here
Not the
out.
orange guy.
So congratulations! You still have to do it in Brazil. So
Right.
it's very, very good. I'm so happy.
That's awesome. I mean, it looks like it. I'm glad to see that you're really enjoying your work. And definitely, like, I love the premise. It's something you don't really see too much of. Because, like, honestly, I agree with you. A lot of the times you want to see something different because we get a lot of the same story over and over again. And like you said, you see the same body types over and over again. You see the same archetype of hero over and over again. So, they're not really given the normal everyday person, you know, or it is not somebody that got bit by a spider or something, you know what I'm saying? It's not like the same thing over and over again. It's something new. So yeah, we really appreciate that. That's good stuff, Mr. Deodato.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about giving a new idea, I don't like when people make a mockery of that idea. Like me and Chad were talking about yesterday how neither one of us really liked the movie Logan because, yeah, I mean, Old Man Wolverine is cool, but they kind of made a mockery of him by making him this sick old man the entire movie long. It's like, okay, if you're gonna do an older character, that's cool, but you don't have to make them fragile, you know?
Yeah, I drew Old Man Logan. I think I
Oh, wow.
did, I don't know how many issues. It was fantastic because it was Wolverine with spice on it.
Right.
He was already a badass, but older. He got even more badass.
Right.
So the little patient he had, it's gone. So it was the best Wolverine. I loved it. So I love Wolverine because it's kind of looks like because I'm from the northeast part of Brazil,
Mhm.
and we in this part we are generally short and bad temper, hairy, at least in the body, not and so he looks a lot like the people from this area I live on. So it's identifying with him, and I like it because it's more. Yeah, it's not the good guys in the middle. You know, there's a lot of
Right.
gray areas. I like these characters. They are more. They are not all good all the time. So
No, and I agree. And Josh, you made a good point because it's cool in some situations. Like I have you seen a lot of the MCU adaptations, Mr.
oh
Deodato?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like it just depends. Like I think some characters are like handled better than others, but specifically Josh, yeah, with Old Man, like with the Logan movie, I think it could have been he didn't have to be that fragile, you know, like you were saying in the comics, you know, he's even worse than he is when he was younger. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, so that I think that aspect should have been carried over to the, you know, to I guess the live action version of that character.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like
okay.
what I like about characters. I prefer the ones that are unstoppable. You know, that they kick the hell out of everybody. They don't make mistakes. So I don't like when the hero is caught by somebody hits him in the head when he's not looking.
Right.
Right.
No,
Right.
100 guys to make him, and he would have to have a plan to get escape. So um, that's why when I drew Berserker Unbound with Jeff Lemire,
Yeah.
I had the freedom to he wrote, oh, so he fights a lot of guys, and then I put a true army, and he was beating the hell of an entire army of barbarians because it's mine. I can do whatever I want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like. For instance, I don't know if you saw that series, 24, right? Do you know 24? The
Oh,
series?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen
yeah. Because
I've seen
I'm
parts
used.
of it.
I was used to watch that actor doing the very badass guy, and then I saw the new series of him. It's about a president, I guess. I don't know, but he's fragile. No, I don't want to see that. Put another.
No, and that's a big problem. Like that's the issue when, especially like with characters like the Hulk, like you see that they're basically like he's unstoppable, you know. But and then in the movies, you know, so everybody can win and be happy, you know, they get it to where Tony
Like,
Stark can take
or
him down. It's
Thanos.
just right, or Thanos can take him down. It's like, come on, guys, this is
Don't
the
remind
Hulk.
me.
It's like
Right?
nobody
Like,
should be able to stop this character.
Yeah,
I like,
plus I love the actor that made Wolverine. He's a fantastic actor, but he
Oh yeah.
could not make me believe that he's short. because he's not.
No, he's
No.
extremely tall.
They're
Exactly.
like all
Right,
those
see?
different camera
So it's
angles.
not
They gotta
accurate.
like lower down the camera a little bit so like you can see it. Like he's short. No guys, don't worry. He's not like 6 foot or anything. He's short.
Mm-mm. No, it's not
Couldn't
accurate
hide
at
it
all.
very
Same thing
well.
about Batman. I'm very picky about things. I didn't like any Batman because he was like a robot.
Really?
Like, oh, where is the Joker? Oh, he's doing the doing the thing. This. Oh, Black Panther. They did the Batman how he should be, very agile and moving. Even
That's
with
true.
the tech, you can see that he's very can move fast and stuff. And Batman, no, it's a robot. So yeah,
So, I mean, I think as far as Batman, and I agree with you 100%. I just hope the newer Batman, he's a little younger. I hope he's a lot more agile than Ben Affleck in the bat suit. You know, he's he's a little
Bale.
bit robotic.
why they have to have like a protection for bullets? I didn't see it in the 70s when I read Batman. He didn't have to have no, and the Daredevil too, and
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm just an old grumpy leader.
Well, I mean, that's just how they're doing it, in the movies now. So I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with it. It's terrible, but we can't. I really wish.
I like the Joker.
Huh?
The Joker was great.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, the Joker was fantastic. Well, Joaquin Phoenix, yeah, that was great. I don't know how it's gonna be because they're talking about when they reboot the what is it, the Suicide Squad, and then there's a Snyder cut coming out with the Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah,
What was that face for?
He just gotta give him like the
4 hours.
Look. Oh no!
I pass.
He said you'll pass. Oh man, well we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm kind of with you on that too. But yeah. So one thing we wanted to know, because it's great that we're seeing like a lot of your maturity as an artist and where you are right now. But we just wanted to know a little bit about your past. So starting out, like when did you start drawing professionally? And what sparked your interest in the visual arts, especially in comic books?
Well, my dad was he created the first comic book in my region, northeast of Brazil, in 1963, and
wow.
it was a character. It was called the Flame, and like a Batman, but local Batman. And
Yeah.
it was a character he created when he was 15 years old, and then when he was working at newspapers and radio, he created this soap opera for radio, and he would interpret the character, he would do anything. And then it was a big success in my little town, and then he got a lot of sponsors to make a comic book. And he only did this one because he didn't have the time. He had 4 kids, but he did this one. And so I like for kids, their father is like a superhero in general, right? And
Sure.
mine was a superhero, real superhero, because he would pose for pictures to distribute to the kids with the mask and everything.
Oh, what?
And so I grew up watching, hearing him on the radio in the adventures, his voice, and he would come back to home, and we and my brothers, could you draw a superhero for us to color? And he would draw characters from his time, like from the 40s, like the Avenger, the Comet, a lot of old characters.
Mm-hmm.
And so I grew up, he would buy a lot of comics for us. It was expensive, but he would bring us to some places where they sell secondhand comic books without the cover or the cover without the title, but we didn't care. We just so we every kid, 4 kids would go home with like this size of pile of books, and then we would be quiet. And so I grew up like this, a lot of comics, old comics. So I read, the first comics I read were from the 40s and 50s, my dad's time. And so those horror stories before the comics code. And so I grew up with this environment, and my dad always he wouldn't teach me like a formal lesson draw like this, but he would introduce me to the masters, like, oh, this is Will Eisner, the spirit. You see what he does with the shadows and the title and the camera. So I would understand what good stuff. So introduced me to Esteban Maroto, a lot of good stuff. And at 13, I started drawing and copying from comics because we didn't have any drawing school at my town, nor we had the money to do it. So I started copying from comics, and hey, I can do that. It's good. So I decided at 13 that I would be a comic book artist. I didn't know it would be very hard to get there, especially in Brazil, but I hadn't made my decision. And different from a lot of other parents, my dad was supportive because it was his dream too. So instead of, no, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, no, oh, good. You're gonna... So
That's cool.
I didn't have any university with, I didn't want to do arts in university because I thought I didn't like the idea. So I went to do communication. It was doing journalism. And because my father was a journalist. So, so I did 4 years of that, but it was, for me, it was boring. I was already working in a newspaper, so I thought I have nothing to learn. You know, young people think they know everything.
Right. Yeah.
And so I finally I had the chance in 19. Well, before that, I started doing fanzines, and then I did a lot of them with my father. At first, he was just watching, but then he started collaborating with me, doing the stories. By coincidence, really coincidence, because my sister was tidying up my files. There is some stuff, old stuff here from that time. So my dad, he would do the stories like that for me with very Eisner influence. So really he would do it very small. Instead of writing in a paper, he would do small thumbnails with the places of the panels and the balloons and the angles and everything, and I would do it bigger. So even if he wasn't doing a formal lesson, teaching me formally how to draw, I was learning just by working with him. So I learned a lot of from 19, I think I was 19 years old here.
Oh, wow.
But so here you have all the elements that Will Eisner used to do, that you could see the time passing. So I could learn about narrative and angles and everything, or see things going on here and other things, all the elements that Eisner had, a lot of deep in the scene and everything, angles. So at a young age, I was having these lessons from my dad just by working with him. And by 1985, I was 4 years old, 4 years in my degree in journalism. I had the chance to do the story of my state, the region, in comics. And they were gonna pay a good money, and my dad was writing it. So I went to my teacher. Oh, can I do anything? Like, can I not coming and we do a way that I can keep the? No, I don't think it would be the most decent thing is to close the the university, the course I was doing. And okay, so I closed it and I never came back. So, so I'm not graduating in anything, but I'm happy. I did this thing 1985. What was my first paid gig in comics, and then 1986 I sent one of my books. It was by coincidence. I really swear I didn't know you were gonna talk about the past, but
Or you just happen to have all the good stuff right there.
it's here for me to scan it.
Sick.
I think this is just stats. I did this in 1984. A lot of influence from by coincidence, my first opening scene in the Reistance is exactly like this. A lot of influence from guys like from heavy metal and metal hurlan, especially Esteban Maroto and Druile, and a lot of this stuff. The genesis of my style is here, is when it was forming. I sent this book to a comic book guy that was taking care of a branch of the government that took care of culture, just to get a compliment. Yeah, saying he's going, hey, it looks great.
Right,
You know?
good job, right.
Instead, he sent me. I got a phone call from his assistant. Hey, we are selecting people to go to Angoulême in France, a delegation of Brazilian artists. And would you like to go? Yes, of course. I had never left my town for any. Actually, I went to the north of Brazil to a karate championship to get beaten, and that was all. And but I never been in a plane or everything. I was 23, but my mind was like 13. And then, okay, Dad, I'm going to France. And then my dad asked money for friends to give me some money to travel. They asked for clothes for me to travel because it's a very hot here. So no, and then I went. It was the first time I went away. I did a lot of shit there, like I had no idea, and but it was the first time it gave me fuel to the years ahead. To only 5 years later, 6 years later, I would be able to live from comics, and give me the fuel to understand I was in the right path. And I was the only one unknown in the delegation. All the guys were big stars in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
And it was great. I have fond memories, no pictures, but I have. It was a magical trip. When I came back to Brazil, I said to my dad, Dad, I want to leave my job. I was still living with my parents. Want to leave my job. I'm doing only comics. And my dad, oh no, he was counting on the money. Yeah, sure, son, sure. So I started doing comics for small publishing in Brazil, but the money was so short. And I tried for 10 years, from 1980 to 1990, I tried to live from comics in Brazil. It was impossible. So 1988, I decided to get married. So I closed my drawing board and put it aside for a year, and I started working on two newspapers and advertising agents. It was crazy, but then finally, a year later, I started doing again comics just for fun in the weekends, and by 1991, a company was formed in São Paulo called Art and Comics. They wanted to represent Brazilian artists in the US. And,
okay.
and then they called me, oh, want to do something for them? And by coincidence,
And there we go.
man,
Awesome.
that's the
what I'm
first
talking
interview.
about.
I have everything. So I did a book called Santa Claus. It was, oh yeah, this is here. Santa Claus. Oh, these are stats of the originals. I did all in brushes, and it was for Malibu Comics. Very
Okay.
very nice
Yes.
story.
That is nice.
I think it was 30 pages. I had to do in 30 days, and I was working on 3 jobs. So
Wow.
imagine how crazy was that.
The stress level had to be ridiculous.
But I made the deadline, and I never stopped doing comics after that. And
Wow.
after that, I did protectors for Malibu. I was doing inks. It was like it's hard to know the real rate they were paying because my agents took a percentage. It was kind of blur, but it was like $10 for inking. So I was doing four pages a day or more. So it was, believe it or not, it was more than my 3 jobs I was doing.
Okay.
So okay, I can left my jobs. So I left one after another, and I was happy. I was working at home, and I didn't have a drawing board, so I was drawing in a cabinet or something, and I didn't have a light table, so I used a glass from the kitchen with a lamp in the behind. I broke 3 of these glasses. My wife was yelling at me.
She was
And,
upset.
but I was happy. I was doing protectors, inking Thomas Derenick, and it was like I was drawing Avengers. Man, this feeling of the first thing you do, it's unbelievable. It's like the first love. It's you can have better love later or more strong or more faithful or whatever, but the first one is different. It's because you are a different person. Everything is new. So this job was fantastic. I was like so happy. And then small publishers, like I did things for Innovation, Beauty and the Beast, Quantum Leap, most TV adaptations, and then did things for even Miracle Man. I did for Eclipse, never published, and at that time, if you want to ask anything, just stop me, and I just.
Oh no!
Keep going.
Then me and my agent, we made a trip to New York. So because I was working for Innovation, and the editor there, my agents made a deal with him, so they were partners. He was also representing me there. So I was working for Innovation, doing this stuff for them. It was Beauty and Beast, but I wanted to do superheroes, do the big two. So I went to New York with them, and we made a trip to all the editors we could reach. So showing my work and then stuff, but nobody wants wants me to hire me because it was outdated. It didn't have the energy of books at the time. Because in Brazil, there was no internet for me at least, and in Brazil the timeline was like 10, 15 years old.
Behind.
Like I was still seeing John Buscema, and so my style was like that.
Mm.
But when I was there, everybody was sad at the hotel. Oh my God! And then in the way back, I bought a lot of Image comics, and I was so impressed with the quality of their work. Oh my God, this is so great! The energy, the color, especially because it was digital. And then, guys, this is amazing. I can do that. And they, oh yeah, of course you can. And then I'm gonna back to Brazil and do some samples in this style, and then I'm gonna hire me. Yeah, do that, do that. So I did this. I was not prepared for this, but I have it somewhere.
Oh, that's fine.
So I did these two samples here. There we go. I did these two samples. It's not digital. It is airbrush. And we showed this to, open up. Well, let's see if I can. We showed this to Neil Adams. We know, I didn't travel this time, but they showed it. And he hired me right away.
Oh, wow.
This is all airbrush.
Wow.
So
Oh, that's tight.
you see, there is a lot of Image stuff here. There is Todd McFarlane and all that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I will use the. Okay. So I drew everything, the balloons. Of course, I didn't know English, so it was on.
Mm-hmm.
But I was hired immediately after that.
Wow.
And then after a while, I heard that a friend of mine, Mark Campos, he was working on a book for DC called Extreme Justice. And I was envy. I told my MC, I wanted to go to DC too, please. Well, they have Wonder Woman. And I despised Wonder Woman back then. But of course, I wanted to go in. I love Wonder Woman. Please give me.
All right, exactly.
So I prepared two samples just like that with Wonder Woman that I don't know where they are. And Paul Kupperberg hired me right away. And then that's when I finally got known by the big public. And the rest was, it was like I was, okay, it was my big break when I did Wonder Woman.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. So, no, that's so fantastic.
Any questions?
His reaction is like, huh?
Any questions? No, but that's hilarious. You were like, yeah, Wonder Woman. I'm not a fan of Wonder Woman, but then I was.
Now I am. But I confess, I cannot read books after I leave. I get jealous. I don't like what people are doing with my characters, so I don't read them. So.
Have you seen the Wonder Woman movies?
I love the first one, and I'm not gonna watch the second because everybody's saying that's not.
Yeah, Everybody said that. Everybody keeps saying that. I'm like,
have you seen it yet, Demetrius?
no, I
not gonna-
haven't. I'm
Have you
actually.
seen it?
I'm gonna try to see it, but I haven't. Nah, not yet. Nah. I forgot about it. Actually, I forgot it. It
Yeah.
came out because I was gonna watch it and I forgot because people were saying it was so bad. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll watch it later. I'll wait for it to come out on like Blu-ray or something. Like, I'm not gonna pay for HBO. Like, no, we're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I have HBO and I have to pay for HBO Max. I don't know the name. No,
Right.
no, man.
Right?
I already paid for Disney, for Netflix, for Amazon, man.
It gets to be too much.
Yeah.
No,
Like everybody
no, it
wants
seriously
to
gets to
stream.
be too much.
I'll go
Everybody
for
wants
the
that
pirate one.
premium service. Well,
Yeah, they kind of do. Everybody wants to be like the big like thing. Like Netflix came out, then it was like all these other things were like, yeah, we can do that, and you know, they're trying.
Yeah, yeah,
I love
yeah.
this
They're
because
trying. I mean,
the more streamers, the more comic book adaptations, the more chance I become a millionaire someday. You know.
well, since we're talking about your characters, one thing I wanted to ask was about the like the creation of Ironheart and Iron Patriot. I just want to know, like, what was that process like working with Brian Bendis on creating those characters, and also like how do you feel about them getting all the live action movies and all that
Oh,
stuff?
no, that's great. No? It's great to get my name in the long line name.
Right.
Hey, that's my name. Picture.
Right.
That's all I
awesome.
get. That's all I get. But I love it. It's fantastic. Working with Paint is a big friend of mine, so it's always a pleasure. He betrayed me. He left Marvel, but then I left Marvel too. But we're going to do Wolverine. You know, before he left. We are planning to do Wolverine there, and then he left. So, but it was great. The making of Iron Patriot was a pain actually because I did a lot of versions because we were planning Dark Avengers. Then I did several versions. It was me, Brian, and Tom Brevoort deciding what is the best coloring scheme and stuff. And then we decide for the more colorful one. And I had options for all the other characters too, but we decided to use the classic uniforms. And but usually I do studies of the character for creation. Usually, like for instance, this new Hulkarine thing with the weapon H. I did a lot of studies for the character of Gamora and Infinity Wars. A lot of studies too, with a lot of editorial input that I was fighting, but anyway, it's not my character. In the end, they decide. Yeah. But with Riri, is that the pronunciation? Riri, I don't know how to pronounce it. Williams.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, Riri Williams. Yeah,
Riri. I didn't have the time to elaborate or do studies. So she was created the moment the panel comes along.
Oh wow!
So the first appearance, it was how I drew her. So I went for that hair, not very practical in a helmet, but you know,
but you can tie it up, yeah.
Because I loved Misty Knight that John Byrne drew in Iron Fist in the 70s. So it was so into that hair. And so I drew her like that. And I was, as a reference for the kid, I went after that, what's the name? It was an actress who did things for Disney. Disney. I don't remember the name now, but I use her as a reference, and that was it. She was being built panel after panel. So the flow is the because everything contributes to build the personality of the character in comics. In a book, in a novel, you have to write it down, right? You have to, the writer have to describe all the room and the place, the thing, how the character is dressed, how they move, how they put the, uh, how, if they move gently, if they are rough, or anything is have to be described. In comics, this duty is for the artist. Usually the writer give minimum, just whatever he thinks is important, and the rest is for us. So we have to, all the things that were built, I was doing during the process. Okay, is her room, her clothes, how she's thin, she's fat, everything was decided there. That's why I consider the artist that I don't remember the name that made the series after me one of the creators too, because they put a lot of more things into the character after that. So including the armor. The armor I did was intentionally to be clumsy, to be ugly, because it was made in the garage, so it
No, that
was
makes sense. Yeah.
parts and stuff. So and then he did the modern one, beautiful. So I consider them, the writer after that, and the artist, to be also they should be credited as creators too. It's like for instance, Deadpool. Deadpool in this one, when Rob created it, it was very raw, very, all the personality, all the jokes, all the thing came with the other writers, and I'm sure he must recognize that them this way. So it was great to everything with Bendis is fantastic, because he put so many passion, so many, the characters all natural. He put those conversations, endless conversations that people, some readers complain about. That what gives the characters the weight, the what makes them real, and the action comes later. But that conversation, that natural conversation, those great dialogues, that's what make them, we connect with them. So it was great to see it. I had the chance to be. Uh, I was the artist, so I was one of the creators. I was in the right place to do it, and with my good friend Brian. So I'm happy I was there, and happy to see that's gonna be a series now. I'm curious to see
I'm
what.
excited.
Yeah, yeah. Wanna see WandaVision is fantastic, man.
Yes.
Wow.
Ah,
Look,
so
look,
amazing.
don't spoil it. I haven't
That's
seen
that's
any
it.
of it yet.
Oh
Let's
man.
talk about it. Let's get. No, I was kidding.
Well, you know already that they kind of making like a sitcoms from the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
So it's so good that for me, it would be that way the whole series, only sitcom, because it was perfect, fantastic, and much funnier than the actual sitcoms. They can still screw it up, but so far it's good.
Yeah. So
Okay. Have you
far they've been
finished
on it.
you finished all the episodes already?
Which one? Sorry.
Okay.
Uh,
No, I said you finished all the episodes
Yeah,
already.
I watched
uh,
the last one. Yeah,
yeah. I watched it
last.
yesterday. It was good.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh man. See, yeah, I'm so late. I got I got to catch up. I got to see it. So, yeah, guys, no spoilers.
I'm like
I
episode like
haven't
one and a
watched episode
half.
1 yet. Yeah, it's really bad. Like Mr. Deodato, I'm late to everything. Like,
Like Daredevil,
don't blame
you
me. I'm
haven't
like,
seen Daredevil yet.
no, don't do me like that. I've seen Daredevil. Okay. Like I'm pretty good.
Oh
I'm
my
pretty
God.
good with keeping up with Marvel. It's just the TV shows that is just like I gotta
Yeah,
catch up. I
actually, to
really
be
do.
honest,
But
the only ones TV show I like from Marvel are Daredevil, The Punished, the first season,
Yes.
and uh, Jessica Jones first season, okay,
Hmm.
and then Defenders was a mess. Luke Cage, I understand the stylistic thing, but
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
worked for me. And Iron Fist was a crap.
Iron Fist was terrible. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
and yeah, all the others by others, I tried, but I didn't like 10 minutes. I don't like it, but so
Yeah.
yeah, but uh, Daredevil and Jessica Jones first, and the first Punisher and WandaVision are fantastic. And
Yes.
Agents of Shield, I watched a lot, but it's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. I never got
Never got better.
It never got there.
Yeah, I'm there with you on that. I
Yeah.
don't like Iron Fist either. It's just
I mean,
Yeah,
it was the
man,
weakest. It was the weakest out of all of them. If you really
such a
want
pussy. Even his girlfriend was better than fighting the.
to.
right.
But
Yeah.
I like Cobra Kai. I like. I
Oh yeah,
hate
Cobra
Karate
Kai.
Kid, the movie,
Yes.
but the Cobra Kai is fantastic.
Yeah.
Since we are speaking about martial arts,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, especially well that's actually a good lead in. Josh, you had a question about like karate?
Yeah. Speaking about karate, Mr. Deodato, what made you interested in martial art?
bullying.
Yeah, I'll
Like
do it.
every. Yeah, I was when I was at I don't know the grade system. When I was 11 years old, I got in a fight in the school the first day, and then they left me alone for a year. Okay. The second year, I got into another fight, and they left me alone for a year. Okay, I got good. But then when I was 14, a guy bullied me, throw my bag away, and I was
Mm.
afraid. I didn't fight back, and I was feeling crap. So I went to watch like in the Trail of Bruce Lee. It was a Bruce Lee fake movie.
Uh-huh.
And then I was, hey, he's beating uh, 10 dozens of guys at the same time. I need that. And I was reading Master of Kung Fu and
Nice.
uh, also a lot of stuff. And okay, and there was a lot of promotion on Taekwondo in Brazil back then.
Mm.
And I went for a taekwondo school, but oh, we don't have taekwondo, we have karate. Oh, okay, I'm doing karate. And then I did karate, I loved it. I started going to the school with my gi because I was going to the school right to the school, and the guys, oh, he's doing karate, so they
Don't
left me
mess with
alone.
him.
And
Yeah.
even if I wanted to show them already, but nobody would come around. So that's it. 15 years old, and then I stopped it when I was 20, and then I came back in my 30, 35, I guess, and then I stopped 8 years ago, and then I come back with the quarantine because I couldn't go to the gym, and then okay, I'm doing karate again, and it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So now it's just so you're not like beating up like tens and thousands of people today. Are you trying to just exercise, right?
Yeah, a bit in my imagination.
Right. Look, be out there in the streets beating people up. Like we can't
Yeah.
have that. Not another Bruce Lee. We
Walk
don't need
around
another
like,
Bruce Lee.
hey, come fight me. I'm ready. I've been doing
With the
karate for
gi on.
years. Come on, somebody
Look,
come fight me. I've been ready.
If
no,
you
I wish. What were you about to say?
the good thing about martial arts that after you start doing it, you don't have to prove
Mm-hmm.
anything. Yeah, I can beat anyone I want, so I don't have to fight. Then you are a calmer person. Actually, I was thinking about it. A real fighter he thinks he can beat everybody. Everybody. In my head, I can beat everybody from Mike Tyson to Bruce Lee to anyone.
Nice.
You, I can't. But in my mind, the real fighter, he never refuses a fight. And when he go to a fight, he thinks he can gonna win, of course. And then until you can't.
Until
But
you can't, exactly.
in my mind, I can beat everybody. So it's interesting. This they
So it really
illusion.
just like gives, well, it gives you like a lot of confidence. It's like a, so I would really, so that'd be a good thing. You could suggest that to like, you know, any, all kids or anybody going to school that needs a confidence boost. It seems
Yeah.
like it would, you know, besides having being a good workout, you know, and definitely giving you some discipline, I'm sure it could help a lot with like self-esteem as well.
Inner peace, you know, you got inner peace because you know you can kick anybody's butt. Like you ain't got to worry about it. You can walk through the building like, oh, I could beat you. So you're like peaceful about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your,
That's what's-
it's like your determination in karate kind of correlates with your determination in comics, because you think you can. Because I would think if you want to be a comic book artist, you're like, okay, well, I can draw anybody, or and if you're a martial artist, you're like, okay, well, I could probably beat up everybody too. So
Yeah,
it goes hand in hand, kind of.
yeah. Actually, in comics, I know my limitations because martial arts is kind of different because it's like a mindset. It's like a macho thing. You cannot refuse a fight. You fight to death and stuff. While in comics, in arts, you have to think. You know what you are capable of. I know I'm not a Frank Miller. No, I'm not a Hal Foster, or I know my limitations, and I know my strengths. Um, I my strengths are because I think I have um, uh, a viewing of my art from distance. I like to
yeah.
take distance and see what's going on. If I'm going the wrong way, I have this, and I have a lot of knowledge about comics. It may sound weird, but a lot of my peers they don't know what's going on with comics. They don't know the past writers and artists. Some of them are in this just because it pays money, so it's okay. Or so one of my strengths is to have this background, the knowledge I have, the view I have of the market, of myself. It kind of compensates for me not being Frank Miller, for instance.
Well, no, that makes a lot of sense. And that's because like I know Joshua draws and I draw a lot. That does get hard. That's really a great skill to be able to step back from your work and look at it as if you didn't draw it kind of objectively and see like, okay, because I know it's gotta be tough. Like when like trying to meet a deadline, for example, and you're drawing something for hours or for days, you know, not having the ability for it not to just run together, that when you see it like a week later, you're like, oh God, what is this? What did I just draw?
One of the things I
You know?
used to do back then was to flip the book over so I could see in the other way. So my
Yes.
drawings, because I read it backwards to. Uh, uh, so I like to see what's going on, because sometimes you go in a pattern, you go in okay, I have this system, I'm going there. For instance, I'm working 99.9% digital nowadays.
Okay.
And one things that I have to watch is to not to make it everything all so perfect, because of the Control Z and everything you have in your at your hands to make it perfect. It can be too clean. So I try to make it dirtier to not complete all the because I can do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. I got it right. So so I try to not worry much about it. and to make it look a little more dirty. And yeah, sometimes when I have time, I look at an old book of mine. Hey, I was doing this and I stopped doing this for some reason. It works, so I may use it again. Or like zipatones. I use them as you can, as I showed you in this in this in this book. I used in the 80s a lot of zipatones, and because I didn't have money to buy for them because they were expensive for me, I used to take stats of them. I would cut and glue them in the behind.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so I used them in the 80s. For this one is a poster for a politician, and because there was this gray, and so I put exactly. There is a lot of in the streets for some elections, so I would bring them down and cut past them. So I used them in the 80s, and then I stopped. But then I saw Damp and Ocean using them very nicely in some covers. Hey, I should use them again. So I started using them in, I think it was Thanos with Jeff Lemire. And,
Oh, okay.
and it was nice because I was using some very interesting page layouts, and mixed with these old school zipatones, made a kind of make it look futuristic, but at the same time retro. So yes, it's I like to pay attention if I'm going the wrong direction without going out of the rails, and then
Going all the way off the rails.
yeah. For instance, I have been using a lot of these layouts where it's all crossed with the lines of the panels cross each other. It's a mix of what Steranko did on his adaptation of Outland for heavy metal in the 80s, and a mix of what I don't remember the artist. It's the artist of Death. It's blank now, but he was using some of this. So I mixed it up and created this style of layouts that's very original for me. I found it very original. I like it a lot. I used it on Bad Mother and on the Resistance. And so, but then for Redemption, for example, I decided not to use them because I wanted it to look very classical, very straightforward, to look more like a Western. So yeah, I pay attention to these things. Some of the things I slip out of my vision. Some things I did great, I'm not doing it anymore, or I'm not doing well. So I pay attention to critics. It's not like I'm gonna do whatever a critic say or reader say, because otherwise I'll be drawing every page differently.
The same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the zipatones. I love zipatones. I don't like this layout. But sometimes when they come together with my own thinking, okay, that's the second, third time somebody mentions it, maybe they am right. And there are persons that I trust their opinion, like my friends, like people I respect, like Brian Bendis or Axel Alonso. When I was at Marvel, Tom Brevoort was a person that I listened a lot about what he would say. What do you think? Do you think I'm exaggerating on the... he said, when I started using gray tones on Dark Avengers, he said, "I'll take care. You can don't get too much. You can get used to it." And really happened. At the end of Dark Avengers, it was all moody and now I pay attention. There is a guy that uses it so wisely. It's Lee Wicks. Lee Wicks, when he uses gray tones, he uses only one type of gray tone in black, and So I learned the lesson. So yeah, you are always paying attention, learning, and trying to get better and having fun. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully having fun along the way. And yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you as well, because like as you were growing like as an artist in industry, like when did you feel like you had a or you mastered your like definitive art style, or is this something to where it's always evolving and
Yeah.
changing?
One of the things, because I had this book I showed you, this science fiction book that I just showed you. I had to work on the pages again to make a reprint in Brazil a few years ago. And that's when I found out that the roots of my style were all here. Uh, Neil Adams, the, a lot of things I still use nowadays, like these designs that have a lot of Esteban Maroto, the Druillet. They were all here, all here. It was like the genesis of my style that changed a lot during the way after years after that. But the base of my style here, this is from Coke advertisement. I'll see the
Oh wow.
is not actually craters, but actually it's water, water, Coke. So but I think there were some moments that my art changed. In the 80s in Brazil, my style was like that, and later became more photographic, a lot of more photorealistic. And it was good, but at the same time, I was too depending on photographs, so it was kind of stale, too static. And then in that story I told you about the Image Comics, it was a game changer because I started drawing like them because I was so impressed. But in the end of the 90s, because I was working too much and my art was a crap, in the end, nobody wants to work with me. Marvel didn't want to renew the contract, and Valiant, that was fighting for my past, didn't want me anymore. So I went down, but all this rejection worked for me to realize that something was wrong. So that was when the new change came, because first I have to rewire my thinking, because I was not working for love anymore, just for the money. And then I had to recur to memories from when I was doing my fanzines, when I was with my friend creating comics in my room. Oh, let's do this and stuff and stuff. And let me show some of the crap I did there.
Yeah.
And then, but it was crap, but there was a lot of love involved. It was so good. And then I used this memory of these good moments to do. This was pure crap. I was 17 years old. Look at that. But the emotion I had back then, man, it was so great. And then I thought that's why I do comics. So I use this memory to do comics. I decided not to work too much, just one book a month, and etc. And that's when my new style arrived. It was the first issue. I did one issue, some issues of Xena, the warrior.
Wow.
And then I had to work with likenesses again, and then I had to record to pictures reference, and then I mixed the style, the very energetic style from Image, with this the style I already have before, very photographic, and then it became good because it was photo reference but it had movement, it had action.
Right.
And then after that, I developed a style just doing just pencils, very tight pencils. And I used first time in X-Men Unlimited number 11, I guess, for a Nightcrawler story. I
Right. Okay.
took pictures of myself posing and stuff. I did a very, because it was like, okay, it's just my chance to get back to Marvel. I was
Mhm.
doing things for Dark Horse and Chaos. And then I would put all 100% on this. And then I sent to that, whoa, this is fantastic, but I cannot use it because uh, I hired an inker. How can he ink a thing that is so tight that he cannot ink this? Okay, send me back. And I had redid all the things in Lightbox with
Mhm.
the access for him to paint over. And then, oh, it's fantastic, great stuff. And then I'm gonna give you an X-Men book. And then he was fired.
Oh
Oh
man.
And then,
wow.
okay, I have to start it over. But that was the style that I used, for instance, in the Hulk, when I finally did the Hulk with Bruce
Right.
John, and in Witches. Witches was another setback. I was, I was. Uh, that's all in my regaining my way into Marvel.
Right.
There was this book, Witches. I was competing with a guy from Europe. I don't know who, but so I did a lot of uh, painting stuff. All the samples I did was in color, and I got the book, and I did the first. I was actually torn between doing this book and Fables for DC, but
Mhm.
I didn't think I was ready for Fables because it was very difficult script, and I didn't feel ready. So I decided for Witches. I did the first issue. Remember, this, back then it was only published after 4 issues. Uh,
Oh man.
my last day at Marvel, the book was published 30 days after I finished. Sometimes the week later, next week. But did the first issue, I did the second, and then the new president of Marvel, Bill Jimas, looked at the script. Oh, this is crap. Close it up. So oh crap.
Ow.
Oh
It
wow.
was later published. Years later, it was published, but I didn't have the I didn't want to finish, so they passed it for a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
But then I start again, and then I finally got Tigra, did a couple of Citizen V covers, and then I did the Hulk. The Hulk, it was another step on learning more about storytelling. The drawing was good enough, but I was still suffering from storytelling issues, and it was like doing a PhD in storytelling, working with Bruce Jones and Axel Alonso, because he was an artist too, and the way he described the scene was exactly, if you put exactly like he described, you'd have a masterpiece in storytelling.
Oh
So
wow.
I decided to not play with the layout of page, just do it straightforward. I even made the panels apart from each other, so you could so do not confuse the reader. It was great. I learned a lot about storytelling there. And the other time I had another changing moment in style was during Thunderbolts. I think the middle of the series. I started late, but I started seeing the work of Eduardo Risso in Under Bullets, and it's a fantastic work. It's the way he works with negative space and like make a big scene and make all the others around it. And I started using it in Thunderbolts, and the way I found to make it my way was not making just this I would make all the panels to follow the angle that the main scene was there. So I would tilt all the panels. I started playing a lot with this kind of things in Dark Avengers too. So that was a lot of experimentations on layouts. And the other time was when I did original scene, was when I did the event, when I developed this style with the crossing panels. And yes, that's the last thing I made some kind of breakthrough in kind of my art.
So that's good stuff. So your style basically grew from a lot of trial and error, basically.
Yeah, every time I saw a great artist or something, there is a guy, the guy is from Italy. He draws. His characters are ugly. People are ugly, but man, how many expression! If you see a small drawing of Superman, you can see by distance how he's feeling, by the way he bends his shoulders. You can tell everything. And the strange choices he does for angles, for leaving blank spaces, that I have this need to feel everything. Otherwise, I feel like I'm cheating. So
I can understand.
I have to fight myself to leave blank spaces, negative space. I have to fight myself. I grew believing it was all in the center. And then every time I see an artist doing something great like this, I try to absorb something. So it's hard, but sometimes I gave up studying Eduardo Risso because it's too many information, too many graphic solutions, too many. So I grabbed all the thing I could and get out. And like Neil Adams, I studied my whole life. I know how it works. Of course, I will never be as good as him, but I know what clicks his art. But Eduardo Risso, I just gave up. Okay, you mother. But it's great. I love comics because of that. So many great things, man. I was showing this. I had no idea how many influence I had from Esteban Maroto back then. Just remind me, oh man, Esteban Maroto. I didn't know how big influence he was on my work, because when I was little, I read was Cinco por Infinitos. I don't know the translation, how it was published in 5 for Infinity. I don't know, but a lot of influence of him and the Spanish guys on Eerie and Creepy, and the Filipino guys, Nestor Redondo, man, that guy Rudy Nebris, those thick brushes. Let me show you something. These are okay. Yeah. I did this during a live.
Wow.
I don't know. But these thick brushes, these are a strong influence from Rudy Nebris. Of course, you would much better. But I love this kind of thing. Very raw. So a lot of influences. That's a great thing about comics. A lot of things to learn yet. And I hope I still have time to do much more.
Oh no, definitely. So, and that's a great point. So a lot of those like thick brush strokes and those dark darks came from, well, some of that influence came from those old horror comics.
Yeah, that too. I remember Steve Ditko used to draw, I think it was Captain Atom. He was, for me, it was his peak. So a lot of feathering, Fantex feathering, the figures. It was not in. It was another more polished style in Spider-Man, but back then it was great too. And yeah, and also the Brazilian artists. We have a lot of Brazilian great. Mozart Couto, Shimamoto is like uh, Frank Miller was impressed with Shimamoto when he came to CCXP last year. Um, he Shimamoto was we had like three horror periods in Brazilian comics. In each of them, Shimamoto was there. He's a old, very old guy, super fantastic. He was there with a new style, using airbrushes, using he experimented with everything. So I feel lucky to being born in Brazil, because of all this influence I had access. Because I feel like if I was in America, for instance, I wouldn't have access to all of these Argentinian comics, French comics, a lot of great stuff that it's published normally in Brazil. It was, at least, and I had access to them all. So all of them were big foundations in my style.
That's
Mm,
awesome. That's a lot of really good stuff.
yeah.
Um,
How did you go about marketing your comics? Like how like was it primarily your agent, or like, because I remember you saying how you basically went door to door
Yeah,
with publishers and stuff,
yeah,
but
and got
basically,
rejected.
how important is an agent? Yeah.
Well, back then I didn't speak English, and it was, even phone call was difficult. It was too expensive. We didn't have conventions in Brazil. It was very hard. So I needed this bridge, these agents, because comics is a small market. It's hard to think of having an agent, but for us back then it was important. They were very important. And then uh, so uh, only in the end of the 90s I decided to take care of my own career. So I learned English, not much, but and uh, because I wanted to control my career, to make decisions, talk to the editors in person. But nowadays it's much more easier. You can have access to anyone via Twitter, Instagram, editors, everything. You can go to any pages of the publishers. You go to the submission policy and send stuff from there. And you can build your own audience and publishing your stuff in social media. And when you feel ready, you can do a Kickstarter or so. Nowadays is much easier, much easier. Of course, the market is smaller, but you know, uh, we've been worse. Marvel was bankrupt a few years ago, if you remember. So
right.
now we are good. We are good.
That's good. That's good stuff. Well, yeah, one of the things that because we it's been such a pleasure. We've talked about a lot of great stuff. One of the things I definitely wanted to end out on was like, I wanted to know, based on especially everything you've been through as an artist and growing over your career, like what advice would you give some aspiring comic book artists that wanted to do exactly what you do?
Yeah, what I just told you about using social media to publish your work, because back in my days I used to do fanzines. I would
Hmm.
sell at most 100 copies via mail, regular mail, and I was working most for the compliments for than anything else. And but nowadays, you can reach thousands of people with a blog or
Yes.
Facebook, and you can use it as a laboratory, like to experiment things, to have feedback from the readers, and even you can reach even professionals and ask for advice if they are nice, and
Right.
and you have access to tutorials online. You have books that you cannot afford. You can download pirate stuff. I do sometimes, but it's Amazon is one click away, and it's
Yes.
affordable. So, man, it's just do your stuff. Do comics. Basically, all you need is a pencil, a rubber, and paper. But
Yep.
all you can have your iPad or uh, tell your tell stories that you want to tell and show people on social media and build an audience, and you learn from them with the process, and uh, and then you decide if you want to go to the big two or keep on your independent lane. uh, I I went to the big two and fulfilled my dream of drawing superheroes, but peers of mine like Gabriel Bay, Fabio Moon, they went for the different road and got an Eisner and stuff and do amazing work. So it's much easier now for you to be seen, and if you do great work, yeah, somebody is going to hire you. So, and even in Brazil now we have one of the biggest conventions in the world, the CCXP.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
several conventions in my town. We have a convention that attracts 30,000 people in a weekend. So it's much more easier now, and internet made everybody neighbor. So yeah,
This
just
is true.
do comics, man. Do your
Awesome, awesome. That
That's
is
good
definitely
advice.
great advice. Great advice from the legend himself, guys. And once again, Mr. Deodato, it has been such a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. I better gave you a chance to make any questions, but that's okay.
oh no, 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 it's
Oh, it was
fine.
all
That was
good.
perfect. Like that was perfect. Like I was just on the edge of my seat the whole time. So we seriously appreciate you. But one thing that I do want to say before we get out of here, I would like you to let our viewers and our listeners know number one, where they can find you on social media, and what do you have going on right now, like a lot of your new comics that you're coming out with yourself. Like let our viewers and listeners know everything you got
Yeah,
going on.
I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram mostly, Tumblr too. Most of them are just Mike Deodato Twitter, and uh, I talk to everybody. And if I don't respond, it's because some way I didn't see it. But so you can reach me out there. And I left Marvel in 2019, and I have been working for AWA Studios from Axel Alonso and Bill Jimas, and I have been doing 3 books so far there. The Resistance, Bad Mother, and now The Redemption. That was first issue came out last week, I guess. And already working on my new project, but I cannot talk about it.
Okay.
Ah, darn. Secrets.
Always with the secrets, always.
and,
But
and, uh, and yeah, I'm online. I'm available. You can talk to me. I don't bite.
well, that's awesome. We definitely appreciate that you are available to talk to, and once again, social media is a great vehicle, and it makes it seem like everybody is connected because that's how we were able to get in contact with you, and so that's definitely awesome. So, but yeah, for all of our viewers and listeners out there, no worries. We will have all of Mike Deodato's information in the description below. And yes, guys, it is time for
Shameless
the
promotional.
promotion. Yes, it is time for our shameless promotional. So we are the Square Roundtable podcast, and you can catch us every Friday on majorzonemusic.com at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Central time, and 1 p.m. Eastern time.
And you can catch us on YouTube on Fridays at really any time. And if you like the video, smack that like button. Comment about anything that, comic book related or anything you want to ask or anything like that. And subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. And
Yes,
also
please.
follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the Square Roundtable. So
Definitely, guys.
But subscribe
Definitely all
first,
of that
though.
good
So
stuff.
definitely subscribe first.
Yeah. I mean, do all those. Do all those things. Subscribe,
Right.
like, comment. Insta. All our social media platforms, all that stuff, all the good stuff.
All of that good stuff, guys. And yes, y'all, it has been awesome. And before we go, I would like all of us, including our awesome guest today, to introduce ourselves before we sign out. And I am your host, Chad Singleton.
Dimitri.
I'm Josh Singleton.
Oh, you can introduce yourself too, Mr. Deodato.
Okay. Yo, this is me, Mike Deodato Jr.
Yeah.
And this has been the Square Roundtable. We are out.
Peace.
Peace.